Vomiting Rainbows. This is episode 11. And on this episode, we talk about all kinds of things, from Trump to a tiny little town where they have a dead guy festival and guys try and blow up the police station, pilots who try and drop their planes out of the air, and 911 operators who ignore them.
We got El Chapo.
And El Chapo. We also,
good man.
And we have our special guest who has joined us for the second time. And that's Eric Victorino from the Limousines and Strata and
Eric and himself.
And his own projects.
Me.
This is Vomiting Rainbows. Thank you for joining us. Mike and I are going to have a special guest, return guest come. He's just running a little late, so he's going to join us probably mid-podcast.
That's how professional this podcast is. We have like a start and a finish time.
Exactly. we have a start, finish time, and then, of course, we have the taco eating guest that sometimes gets hung up at dinner.
It happens, man. You know, you're eating tacos, you lose track of time. It's, I'm not going to hold that against anybody.
No, not at all. But before he gets here, since he doesn't even know about this, we can go to a little corrections corner from our episode 10.
Wait a second. We missed we outspoke or misspoke, I should say.
Well, we inferred that this was probably the case.
Okay.
But now we absolutely know. So the Antigua Police Department did find out who made the Hi Walter It's Patrick video.
Oh, they did?
They did. And they said, with the help of other law enforcement agencies, we were able to 100% identify the video, Hi, Walter, it's me, Patrick, as a complete fake. It was put on by a video producer, cameraman, and actress, and it was done for an art project and has nothing to do with the disappearance of Kayla Berg.
There you go. So that guy, they may have not found it, but the guy probably found them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, hey, dude, I'm not a wanted man. This is a joke. This was an art project. And it's kind of what we thought, right? I mean, that was one of our scenarios.
Well, he said, I pulled down the video, and the police department was like, okay.
Yeah.
He did nothing wrong. So he made a pretty disturbing video for a art class, I'm assuming. But, yeah, it was a complete fake.
Yeah. Man, that would I bet he's freaked out though. He's probably like destroying all his comic book collection, all his horror related stuff. He's like, dude, the cops are cops are knocking at my door.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this was it seemed with the mom saying that it could possibly be her daughter.
Yeah,
that raised the bar really, really high.
Big time, of course, man. I mean, you have a missing kid and you think you see him in a video like that. I mean, it's gonna definitely cause you some sleepless nights.
But it goes back to basically everything that we thought about the video. It felt very scripted.
So we didn't really misspeak. We actually were right on.
We were right on.
We just didn't have confirmation of the fact that the cops were in concurrence with our opinion of the video.
So apparently they thought, pretty sure it was a fake, but they found the guy. He told them exactly what he did. And they've asked people to stop posting things about that video. And and actually Heavy pulled the video down. So,
that seems like the responsible thing to do, man.
It seems like the right thing to do.
Man. I just like the fact that we have more stuff for, a future job in CSI. I'm going to add all this to my resume. We figured this out, man. And then the cops confirmed it.
Detective Mike on the case.
This could turn into a detective podcast. Who knows, Doug?
Yeah, exactly. Detective Nelson.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, we misspoke and someone, corrected us and, someone pointed out that we really don't know what we're talking about, and that would be really embarrassing. So
No, dude, we're experts on everything that we talk about on this podcast.
Yeah, man, it's on the internet. What?
It's on the internet, and all of our research is so well done.
Yeah, Doug does spend 4 to 5 minutes before we hit record.
At least 4 to 5.
Yeah, it's good though, man.
So, our first story that we're going to talk about tonight is, I think, probably the most disturbing thing I've heard in a little while, and that says a lot.
It does say a lot. Sit down, everybody. Make sure you're sitting down if you're not. Doug's taste in stories go from grim to horrific.
So this woman is called Crenshanda Williams, and she is a 911 operator. And you call 911. It's usually an urgent situation.
For sure.
And so Crenshanda basically felt that the 911 callers were annoying her.
I'm sure that a lot of the 911 callers that call in are annoying. I probably, I mean, that's a tough job, man. And a lot of people don't realize that those places, like they think like there's a, like 100 people there working in some call center. A lot of times there's like one or two people there dealing with a whole county.
Right, exactly. So, the other thing that most people would do if callers were annoying, they might be terse or maybe unempathetic. But Crenshanda would just hang up on them.
Oh, yeah. Well, was it like a repeat caller, or you know what I mean? Like, because
no.
that's the thing too. Like, if you have like a 15-year-old kid going like, "Hey, man," like after a while you're like, "Hey, dude, this is an emergency line. I can't be dealing with your calls, right?"
No. So the first, so what had led to this?
Or she would just hang up on everybody.
She would just hang up. Literally, she was hanging up on everyone.
Like somebody like, "There's a fire!" Click.
Yeah, but this is like one of those things where her bosses identified her as having like 20 to 70 times more 20-second calls than anyone else in the call center.
Yeah.
So that started to raise flags for them.
Of course.
And the first one that they actually caught her with audio was a security guard reported a reckless driver.
Yeah.
And he like said, "Hey, I'm at the corner of this intersection and this intersection, and there are these guys
doing donuts or whatever."
No, really like high rate of speed.
Yeah.
2 weeks before this, in the same area, a family was killed by reckless drivers.
Oh man!
And so he actually was aware and was trying to be diligent. He called, and she just immediately, right before at the end of the intersection, she just hung up on him, and she says into her own headphones after the call's disconnected, "Ain't nobody got time for this."
Huh. Well, that's where she's wrong. That's
right.
Her job is to take calls from the public. So obviously, the call center knows there's an issue with this lady. What finally happened?
Well, I mean, then the next one, I think we have to go through like
call by call. Okay, we're like air checking this operator.
So the other one, there was a guy whose store was being robbed, and he was calling for help, and it was the middle of a robbery. He opened the mic on, or had the call down, and he said, "Hey, I'm in the middle of like a live robbery.
Yeah,
I need police assistance right away." And she hung up and just sighed.
Oh wow, that's crazy. So she wasn't even like dispatching police to the scene. She was just taking calls and thinking, "Well, yeah, I mean, this is someone who doesn't want to have their job very long."
And Well, and then.
And what city was this in?
In Houston, Texas.
Huh.
Yeah. And that guy was killed in the robbery.
So now let me ask you a question, Doug. Is she liable for his death since she didn't send help?
They are not releasing exactly what they're going to prosecute her with.
Yeah.
But it's bad.
It's definitely some type of like gross negligence, right? That led to the harm of another person. I mean,
exactly.
There's got to be some type of, I don't know if she's going to be like life in prison for murder, but she definitely, added to that situation that got that guy killed. That's horrible, man.
Yeah, it's unconscionable.
Yeah.
Like, that she would do something like that.
So what? She suspended like for like a week, whatever.
Yeah. So she's at this point she's in custody, and there's just like a flood of messages about how despicable this is.
Now, do you think it's possible that this lady is like some type of like a plant from some like cell, like in order to disrupt police functioning? You know what I mean? Like kind of take them down from the inside type thing, where she's like, okay, I'll become a dispatch 911 operator, and then I'll just wreak havoc.
Right. I think probably not that, but they found thousands and thousands of calls that she just disconnected.
So I would imagine, like not only is she in trouble, but I imagine the supervisor is going to be in trouble as well, right?
Yeah, I mean they are right now. It's a criminal complaint, and the Houston courts are trying to figure out what crime they're going to charge her with.
Have you ever had to call 911, Doug?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I've called a couple times in my life. I remember one time I was driving up Market Street up toward like Portola, kind of near Twin Peaks, and I was at this stop sign, and there was I want to say there was a kid in the back seat, and there was a guy and a lady, and there was like a kid in the back seat, and this dude just starts wailing on this girl in the passenger seat. I mean, like just punching, just like wham, wham, and I'm like, whoa, dude, like. I mean, it wasn't like, this guy was beating this lady. And so I followed him, and I call 911, and I'm like, hey, I'm behind this car. This is where they're at. This guy is literally punching this girl as hard as I've ever seen a guy punch anybody. And there's a kid in the back of the
in the vehicle.
In the back of the vehicle. I mean, this is a messed up situation. You know?
Is the car moving?
Yeah. Like, we're driving, and I'm following them, and every time, and the guy like would punch her while we're driving, and we weren't driving fast, it's city traffic, so maybe 20 miles an hour. But anytime they would stop, he'd start wailing on her really hard. So I gave them the license plate. I told them the make of the car. I told them what was going on. I gave them the intersection, and I was like, "Do you want me to follow this guy?" And then if he pulls up into a house, like get out of the car and kick his ass, or she's like, absolutely not.
Right.
She basically told me just you've given us all the information we need. Just stop following them, basically.
Right.
So I did, but and then I always wish I would have kept following them to get some resolution, because I'm like, did the cops even find this guy, or I wouldn't mind jumping his ass. You know what I mean? It was such a messed up situation. But with that said, I will say that the person I dealt with on the phone was super professional. And wasn't like, well, that's not my problem. Click and hung up the phone.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that they're talking about here, is that it's just who in the world, when this is the lifeline for this guy who's getting another woman, another guy called about his wife who lost consciousness in the front yard, and she hung up on them.
The thing is, I think any type of emergency responder, whether it's on the front line as a firefighter or a dispatcher, you have to realize that people are calling you perhaps on their worst day of their lives.
Yeah.
That's part of the job, right? I'm sure you get your annoying calls and your crank calls and your goofballs and stuff, but most sane people are calling 911 when they're in a horrific situation. They're calling for help. So it's appalling that this lady took her job so just not serious, really.
Yeah, and you would also think that, again, going back to the supervisor, that they'd vet for somebody who is able to handle the stress of this job. And if you're not able to handle a bad day and save lives, then you shouldn't. This is not for you.
Yeah. Well, well said, Doug. Well said.
And then maybe we should take a little breather and bring Eric up here.
We'll take a break right here, and then we're gonna get our special guest.
Our special guest. We're now joined by our second guest, or second time our guest has been here, Eric. Eric.
How do you say that? He's our secondest time runner-up guest.
Dude, we're so professional. I don't want to get into the eloquence of what I have to announce.
He's our first repeat guest, man. That's what you're trying to say.
And I want to say that was very well said.
Thank you. So yeah. Anyway, so while we were waiting for Eric, we talked about Corrections Corner, and then we talked about a 911 operator that just hung up on people when they would call for an emergency.
I worked at Earthlink in customer service. And I did the same thing.
Did you really?
Yeah, but people weren't dying. It wasn't life and death. It was just.
But every once in a while, you just hang up on them?
Well, because they had the number on the wall, and the supervisor would come and see how many calls were waiting. So we just go click, 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 until the number went down.
Now, would you? Okay, so that's how you do it. You wouldn't sit there and kind of string the dude along. But okay, now you want to plug in your, and the guy's like, about to solve the problem.
No, that doesn't get the number down fast enough. That's why I don't like having jobs.
Have you tried to turn your computer on and back off again?
I worked in, dude, you totally reminded me. I had a job for a while doing what do they call it? Telemarketing.
Oh, no way.
Selling like it's weird too because the place is still there. It's down in San Clemente. It's like the Riviera Beach and Spa, whatever. And like when I was in high school, I did like I worked there and sold timeshares. Like I just call people randomly and be like, "Hey, you be interested in a timeshare?" And I mean, and I would and like those leads worked. Like people actually bought timeshares. But I remember they paid cash every day and they gave you free pizza. So it was awesome. And it was like, it was like $5 an hour back in the day. So you could go there and make like $40 and free pizza.
And you weren't clicking through calls.
I wasn't, man. I'm like, I could work here forever. I think I had it figured out mathematically. This is when things were really cheap. I'm like, I could live in my car and I never have to do anything. I could live here
forever.
I get free pizza and that's
Call people all day and bother them.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome.
I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's this guy who made a AI that you call and you conference the AI into your telemarketer call. So you're like, hey, hold on just a second when like a telemarketer calls.
Yeah.
And then you conference this number in and it will make really dumb remarks to them and keep them on the call forever. So it's like, hey, hold on. Like, I'm having trouble hearing you. Hold on just a second. And then you'll hear, like, oh, hold on. I have to take care of my dog. And it will continue wasting their time forever.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean,
they still get paid.
Yeah. They don't care. And that's the thing is people assume that you as an individual don't have time. And that's true for most people at most times in their life. But there was a time where I had lots of time. And so I wouldn't even be looking for like a car. I'd go into a car dealership and kind of like try to negotiate buying a car. I'd spend like 4 or 5 hours in a dealership.
Yep.
And having no intention of buying a car just to try to learn like how they do stuff.
Did you take it for a test drive?
I did take it for a test drive.
Yeah.
But then I'd sit there and when it comes, because you okay for this, and they put you in like the finance guy, and that's where you really figure out how much you're going to pay.
That's when you scratch your chin and be like,
I'd be like, I don't know, man.
I'm walking out of here right now.
Yeah, I'd be like, I got cash, man. I'll write a check right now for this. And the guy's like, well, we can give you 22 grand. I'm like, nope, 18 grand. That's it, man. And then they come back like 2 hours later. We can do it for 20. I said 18. What? Yeah. You just took 2 hours, bro. And they'd expect me to be like, fine,
right.
And I just get up and leave. Like, I didn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about having no life, dude. Right? That's pretty sad.
Good way to spend your time.
It's pretty sad, right?
And then that led to your career in radio.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, I can talk to people for hours and hours and hours.
This is actually when I was doing morning, so I got off at 10. I just said all day.
Oh, right.
Like, Thursday's car dealership day.
Is that when we'd meet over in the park and just like have beers like midday?
There was a lot of spent a lot of time doing that too, hanging out in the park benches, partying with the homeless. Good times.
So let's talk about our next story. I didn't hear about this one very much in the news, but it's this guy. His name is Michael Ansberry, David Michael Ansberry. And he decided that he wanted to put a small bomb outside a tiny town police station. So,
like how small of a bomb? I mean, like a firework or
how
like
small as tiny town?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a town of 1,400 people in Colorado, and it's called Nederland, and it has 5 cops in the mall police station, and
that's probably as many cops are in Vallejo. Like for a town of 1,000, that's pretty good. I mean, I think there's only, I want to say there might be like 500 cops in San Jose, and that's like 1 million people.
Right.
That's a pretty heavily policed small town.
Yeah, I think it's maybe some of those people are just friends that have a badge.
Just dudes that carry guns.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys.
Deputies.
Yeah, deputies.
This sounds like a jealous husband thing or something.
No, well, hold on. It gets interesting. So he had a bomb, and it was actually kind of sophisticated. It was a cell phone bomb. He used a track phone.
Was it a Samsung Galaxy Note 7?
No, all you have to do is just keep calling it, and eventually it gets too hot and it explodes. The police officer found the bomb sitting outside of the police station. He brought it into the police station, set it on the desk in the center of the police station, then went about his work. Didn't get to the bomb immediately, or the bag. He didn't know there was a bomb in it at that time. Then, after doing a couple of things, he went back to check what was see if he could find the owner, and then he realized it was a bomb.
So
took it out of the police station.
So the cop sits there. Some guy drops a bag onto the counter, and he's not like, "Hey, what's that?" He just kind of ignores it, and then
And no, he doesn't ignore it. He brings it into the actual, puts it on his desk. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So the guy left it outside.
Yep. And then he put it on his desk.
Does that make him an accomplice?
Yeah, he's the one that brought it into the police station. Yeah, this guy just wanted to blow up a mailbox outside.
Yeah, this guy was like, maybe I'll just scare them.
He wanted to scare some crows out of a tree. It's the cop that made it all crazy.
And so the bomb squad finally detonated the bomb, but they were able to get the phone and find out all this. The guy had been calling the bomb incessantly, trying to get it to blow up, but it didn't work.
Have you ever noticed though, when they blow up bombs, sometimes the explosion is way bigger than.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? Maybe the bomb would I don't know.
It was like fireworks, and then
video footage. Yeah, it's like a pack of fireworks or something that might make a little explosion, and they'll ignite a landmine to blow up that bomb.
Oh, absolutely.
Because those bomb guys are we get to blow shit up. Yeah.
They've been waiting for this.
Totally. Bring in the robot. Let's go.
They full on bought in the robot. They had helicopters and everything. And of course, this is itty bitty town. So this is
big deal.
Huge deal.
They're going to sing songs of this in the village.
Exactly.
For a million years.
Those guys are getting statues in the town square made, man, now.
So they don't know exactly why he did this. He hasn't said yet.
Small town, dude. People are bored.
No.
People are bored in a small town. They want some action. They want some drama.
But he was in a radical group in the 1960s, and they think it's a grudge from 40 years ago.
No way.
Yeah.
Some cop was like, cut your hair, hippie. And he's like, someday.
Exactly. I'm going to get you.
Yeah. There'll be technology, cellular technology, where I can make a bomb.
The reason that they were able to catch him is because
this is Ansberry, right?
Because it's just his phone, with his number and his mom's number and the speed dial.
He's 6'3".
Yeah,
and he also is on crutches.
It's also a town of 1,000 people. I mean,
true. And they have him on video footage going to the store, buying the track phone, and then they were able to follow all of his movements through the town because of the video footage.
Yeah.
So they knew exactly where he was, where he went, when he dropped off the bag. They have the pictures of all of him, doing all of these things. So
think of how crazy it is that they have that level of surveillance in a small town, right? I mean, isn't that kind of creep you out a little bit? When I think about living in a small town, I think
you expect it in San Francisco, but not.
Yeah, I wouldn't even think that there's any cameras in a town of 1,000 people. It's just kind of everyone, and that's why people live in a small town, right?
They get away from that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing David was hoping that they didn't have cameras.
Yeah.
But it also sounds a little bit like this town is a little Wayward Pinesy. But do you know that?
Yeah. Good pop culture reference, Doug.
Thank you.
I got you there, man.
Thanks. I'm glad you got my back on that one.
Yeah.
So anyway, he had this grudge. He's looking at 5 to 20 years. But one of the really interesting things is this town is known for one big thing a year, and it's called the Frozen Dead Guy Days.
We gotta go. Road trip.
Hey, what do you do? You guys all going to Frozen Dead Guy? What is it?
It's Frozen Dead Guy Days.
Is this how Coachella started? Is this the true roots?
So Frozen Dead Guy Days is there was a guy who was brought to the town after his wife after he passed away, and his wife kept him frozen, and basically her own version of cryogenics, and then they eventually.
Can you do that? Is that legal? I mean,
no, so you can't.
It's like Weekend at Bernie's, but
but she's a Norwegian citizen, and the guy's name is Bredo Morstol, and just kept the body preserved on dry ice, and then stored him in liquid nitrogen. And
now they have a parade, or what do they do?
No, so they actually have a really slow kind of zombie walk thing that they do.
All 1,000 people. This is awesome. Maybe the guy he's trying to blow up the whole town just to end this kind of misery. He's like, I can't do
another Frozen Dead Guy.
So they have coffin races, a slow motion parade, Frozen Dead Guy lookalike contest.
What the fuck?
Sounds kind of cool, actually, man.
That sounds great, but it's 1,000 people. Do they get bored of this, or?
No, I don't think. I think they look for it every single year. There's actually a documentary called "Grandpa's in the Tough Shed."
You're making this shit up.
I wish I could.
I wish we could get somebody who lives there, like, just to send us an email and tell us, like, anything firsthand from there.
Yeah.
They have the polar plunge. Anybody who in March is early March is when it is willing to jump into their local lake. They have a ball called Grandpa's Blue Ball.
Yeah. This is up there with like the Testicle Festival in Montana.
Exactly. Yeah. A couple of, and then they have frozen dead guy snow sculpture contests.
This is awesome.
So yeah,
I've completely changed my mind about this like overly policed camera town. This place is happening.
Yeah,
Sounds like a party.
And then they give a tour of the Tough Shed cryogenic mausoleum, which is where Frozen Dead Guy is now.
He's still there. He's still frozen.
Still there. Still frozen.
It's unbelievable.
And I think you can even view him.
He's like online. He's got his own webcam.
No, but you can view him during the
It's like a freak show. It's like
exactly.
You pay $5 to see the Frozen Dead Guy.
It's literally crazy.
That is crazy. The thing I don't understand is how can something like this, like so wacky and crazy, happen in a town of 1,000 people? I mean, this is like a San Francisco thing. Like, if you said this happens in San Francisco in December, people wouldn't even think twice. They'd be like, oh yeah, of course. But I mean, that's cool.
Sounds like Beta Breakers, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
exactly.
Guess where David's from?
Ansberry. Dave Ansberry?
Yeah, he's from California.
Oh, is he? He's the outsider.
He's the outsider.
Well, this is the thing, man. There's a lot to be learned from this story, Doug. Not only about the Frozen Dead Guy Festival, but this guy had held a grudge for 40 years.
40 years.
40 years. I mean, there's a lesson to be learned here about holding on to things, man. You got to let shit go.
Yeah.
I mean, 40 years? I'm trying to think, like, the longest, like, grudge I've held, maybe, like, how old am I? Maybe 40 years now that I think about it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, like maybe a few months,
well,
right?
In a way, it's about two grudges being held because the woman couldn't let go of this guy. She had to freeze him.
She had to freeze him and keep him.
But that Ansberry guy with the bomb, I mean, like to be angry about something that happened 40 years ago. I mean, do you hold on to grudges, Eric? I mean, is that like
yeah, absolutely.
Like,
I think that's one of my defining traits is my inability to let shit go.
For 40 years?
I'm not 40 yet, but I'll let you know. I'll let you know when I'm 41.
When you're 41, and you'll be like, remember that one time when I was 1 year old and I didn't get that?
I mean, not being like, you share as much as you want, but what's like the biggest thing that you that you're holding on to, man?
I don't know. I think, when someone does something fucked up and doesn't apologize for it or doesn't make it good.
Yeah.
I can hold on to that for a while. I mean, I'm not going to bomb any police stations over it, but I
get the idea. Like if someone mistreats you, you're like, okay, I'm done with that person, or I'm not gonna, go out of my way for that person. I get that, but it's like to be angry like this.
Yeah, and I'm not defending myself. It's a thing that I actually totally hate about it's like it's something I would change.
Yeah,
and I do try to make an effort to change that. Like, actually, I unblocked a few people recently, and I think that's a sign of letting stuff
growing.
When you unblock someone and give them another chance to not be a fucking psycho or whatever.
You unblock somebody just to have them bother you again, and God damn it!
Yeah,
I didn't
give him.
I knew this was a bad idea. I'm going back to the grudges.
Yeah. What about you, Doug? You got any longtime grudges?
I do. I had a grudge over the past year with a friend, and I was actually at Fleet Week.
Yeah,
and we were at the same party, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy hanging out with this person. Like, I will give it an effort. So we got drunk, hung out.
Made out, and everything's good.
We broed down and, full on, put everything out there and then just kind of let everything go.
That's a good thing.
And then, so I think that's a good thing to do.
I held on to a grudge for a pretty long time. It was a buddy of mine. It was a buddy and his wife.
Ooh.
Was like, messed around on him,
Oh.
And I was just like, I was so angry about it because he was such a good dude, right?
Right.
And I was so angry about it, and I was just, I just couldn't. But he forgave her, and he was like, hey, dude, this is, if I'm cool with it, you got to be cool with it. And it took me a long time to get over it, man. Because I was just like, dude, you don't need to be treated that way. Like I was so, you know what I mean. And in the reality, it was none of my business. It's their relationship, and what the, you know, who am I?
But it's your buddy.
It takes more energy to hold a grudge than, you know, it takes more muscles to frown than to smile.
It's true. And, well, that's the thing. And then, but you know, I finally realized, and he kind of helped me realize, like, he's like, dude, because every time I go there, I'd be like, I kind of like just be like, you know, angry and just kind of. And, you know, finally, like, dude, listen, bro. He's like, this is my life. Like, I'm, you know, like, if I'm cool with it, you got to be cool with it. And I was just like, God, he's right. And then that made me mad because I don't like being wrong.
Right.
You know, I was like, you're right. Screw you and your relationship.
Get my track phone bomb.
Exactly.
But after you kind of realized that, did you feel better and kind of let it go?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I apologized to her because I was always, after that, I was always really rude to her and stuff. So I definitely was like, hey, man, I'm sorry for being a jerk. But, you know, I love your husband probably more than you do.
That's part of getting older, though. You just got to, you know, realize that all that effort's not worth it.
That's right, man.
And you know who can't let go of a grudge? El Chapo.
El Chapo, I know. I heard about this,
dude.
Did
you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the last thing that I was going to talk about is El Chapo, I don't know how, somehow he reached out to his crew, and the judge that prosecuted him was out running and was just assassinated on the 17th. So yesterday.
Yeah, it's you know, and the thing is, I remember that was my first kind of thing when Sean Penn kind of not that he directly like turned him in, but he led to his capture. Like I was just sitting there going, like, dude, like Sean Penn has to be scared for his life, right? Yeah. Because like that's way deeper. Like I don't think people understand. Like when you're at that level of organized crime, like they don't care that you're an actor, or they don't care that you're famous. Like you know, if you led to the downfall of their kind of like. Their king,
yes,
you're dead. I mean, it's like, you know, so I don't know. This doesn't surprise me. I mean, it sounds like it's straight out of a movie.
Right,
it's scary. It's freaky.
Have they made a movie about him yet?
Oh yeah,
I know that they've like based characters off of him, but have they actually?
I know they've done a lot of documentaries, and I'm kind of hoping that
you think Sean Penn will play him?
I'm hoping that they'll like keep Narcos going kind of through the years. And then, like, follow up with, like, El Chapo and, like, do other, you know, crime lords of that.
Yeah.
Because they're going to, you know, right now they're, like, in the 80s of Narcos in season 2. So then they'll go into the 90s, El Chapo. And
what do you think the fascination of those drug lords is, like, with the you know, the common dude, just the average dude? Like, why are we so fascinated with these guys? Is it because, like, the insane wealth, the excess of lifestyle? Like what is it that fascinates?
I think it's the same reason people like, you know, rock stars and stuff. They think that guy gets to do everything I don't get to do.
Yeah,
you know, like just reckless and spending and all the pussy they probably get. You know, all the pussy they grab.
Yeah,
you get to grab all the pussy. It's a lot to be you know, for people to envy you for, I guess.
Well, and they also like hold a whole country hostage.
Yeah,
you know, it's one thing to be like a celebrity and held to a certain regard, or a rock star, but this is somebody who is holding a whole country.
But it's interesting because like my brother lives in Cleveland, and he you know, he like in East Cleveland, it's so poor and it's so underpoliced. Where the drug dealers really are, like they really like feed the community, and in the winter they pay for the roads to get plowed. I mean, they do like so much stuff for the neighborhood where it's like they're almost kind of heroes. They're almost kind of like you know, local like celebrities are they are the mayor of that.
It's like how
block.
they set up every like mobster movie. It's always the boss is like well loved in the whole community.
Yeah.
It's looked up to, you know.
And I think that's the thing is I think America has a soft spot for, you know, like you're saying, like these guys who are kind of like the Robin Hoods, or you know, they have these tragic flaws. They might be great guys, but they're you know, they found themselves in these circumstances, you know, to be running these crime syndicates. So even though it's against the law and it might be harming society overall, in a way, they have like this mythical these mythical properties in a way.
Yeah. Well, we'll look at The Sopranos. So The Sopranos, like everyone looks at Tony Soprano as this guy who's desperately trying to change and like going to trying to be the best. And what was season 1 of Narcos? The big drug lord in that.
Tony Soprano? I think it's a fake show, dude.
No.
I don't think James Gandolfini was.
I haven't even seen that yet. I've been meaning to watch it because I love that kind of genre.
That's what I mean. It's fascinating, and I think that's the thing too. Is I think there's part of it that when you learn about these guys, a lot of these guys are just idiots, right? And they're kind of in the same. They just find themselves in this situation, and next thing you know, they're rolling, and you're like, hey, wait a second, man.
Like Donald Trump.
You're like,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah.
So in season 1, it was Pablo Escobar is the one that they're talking about and all of that. But like even he, throughout the whole thing, he's trying to like change Colombia and like try and like run for government and trying to better in air quotes the country.
Yeah.
But his past of just complete violence, always like he doesn't get his way. He just like attacks like everyone and kills everyone.
Yeah, no, I mean, I got friends that are in law enforcement down in Southern California. He's a firefighter, and when they find like a lot of dead bodies, he has to go. He's they call a paramedic and whatever, and firefighters and stuff show up. And he said that when the Mexican drug cartels were coming into California, that he would go on calls, and they'd find like 12 fucking bodies in like a shower stall, all fucking executed.
Right.
Like fucking with their heads cut off, like crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like, and they'd walk in and they'd be like, oh, fuck. Because it wasn't like a serial killer. It wasn't like a murder.
Right.
It wasn't a violent crime. It was like, dude, this is straight up like drug wars.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Well, so.
And he was always freaked out because he's just like, dude, am I going to like, should I just leave this body where it is? Because I don't want to offend any kind of, like, I don't know what their culture is or what their rules are. Like, if I touch this enemy body, am I
somehow
marked man? He's like, I'm just a firefighter, dude.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is you never know how involved you're going to be. Just like what you're talking about with Sean Penn, like he didn't know, but the hubris that what's his name had, the drug lord
El
Chapo got him straight into the line of fire and also got him caught.
Yeah, my favorite thing about El Chapo was when he got arrested. The shirt that he wore when he got arrested, like, went on sale and sold out.
Was it a shirt of Ryan Gosling wearing a Macaulay Culkin shirt?
It was, yeah, with his, exactly. It was like some kind of like had some cheesy pattern on it, but they had the El Chapo shirt that they released and like it sold out.
I mean, I'm not like 100% on the story. He went through like a tunnel and got out of jail or something, right?
Yeah. So what he did is while he was in jail, the drug lords or his crew dug a tunnel in under the jail. He got put on the bottom floor, and they dug a hole through his shower stall and built a staircase up under his toilet or under his shower stall. So it kind of like flipped up, and he just walked down.
Like all convenient.
Yeah, very
awesome.
convenient. It was just like they have the video of him because they had a video in his shower or in his cell, and you can just see him go boop 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 and just walk. He just walks out.
Yeah,
basically, and
that is insane.
And then they couldn't find him for years.
Yeah,
and that was the second time he
went to take a shower and never came back.
Exactly,
crazy, man. Watch out! Don't go in that bathroom stall. Nuts, man.
He's like the real life Kaiser Sose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Except for everyone knows exactly who he is.
Right.
He's in jail now, right?
Yeah, he's in the U.S.
Yeah.
So he's busted now. But
do you think he listens to this podcast? He's probably listening to a lot of podcasts, right? You got time in jail.
Yeah, let's hope not. Let's hope he's not upset about it. Like we like how he got out.
He's a good man.
Please, yeah,
looks
please,
out for us.
Yeah, we don't want any grudge with El Chapo, especially because his reach is still out there.
Big time, of course, man. I mean, and that's the thing. Like a lot, the guy who shot this judge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is probably just a dude who wants to make his mark and show his loyalty to his boss.
Or maybe it's a job interview.
That's true too.
Yikes.
All right. Well, so that's the end of our podcast.
That's all you got, man?
I got one more.
Come on.
Do you want one more?
Where's the Trump stuff? I want
one more.
All right. I've got one more for you. This one hits close to home for me because I'm a pilot. And
congratulations, by the way.
I know. Eric brings up a great point. I mean, I bet 99.9% of podcasts right now are talking about the presidential
and
election.
I've listened to all of them, and I want that 1% to do a Trump story. I'm so obsessed with this, and I've been paying attention to politics my whole life, and I've been voting since I was 18, and I don't know, man. I can't believe every day there's just more, and the last debate is tomorrow.
Yeah.
So all these rumored videos of the Apprentice outtakes where he says the N-word and like
Yeah.
all this crazy shit. If it's going to come out, I think it's going to come out tonight or tomorrow morning in time for this debate.
Right.
Well, this is
It's just a fascinating time to be paying attention.
the
to
October
this.
surprise.
Right.
Well, there've already been a few, but
Yeah.
They tried to lay all their like nuclear weapons out so far, but they're holding like a couple more.
There's got to be more.
I would just love to see like a real time, voting loss of females when he made the comments about grabbing the private parts.
huge.
I mean, it's like even like say there were 1,000 women that were like, I'm going to vote for Trump. Like as soon as those words were uttered, it's just like.
And there are
like,
probably a lot of people still saying, because they can't tell their husband that they're not going to vote for him. But when you get in that booth,
no,
come on.
Yeah.
And then his own son, Donald Trump Jr., coming out and saying, if you're a woman and you can't handle sexual harassment in the workplace, maybe you don't belong in the workplace.
Whoa.
And you should go teach kindergarten. Like, this is a real thing.
I mean, I'm not laughing. Wait, no.
I can't believe it's actually like happening. It's like a Idiocracy, that movie.
It is Idiocracy. I mean, that's the world we're living in.
Like all Trump supporters go and Paul Ryan's doing a speech and people start screaming, chanting, "Paul Ryan sucks."
I told Doug, I think it was last podcast, my favorite thing I've seen, I probably out of any presidential campaign in recent memory, I'd say at least the last 20 years, was at a Trump rally, and there was all these old white ladies holding up signs like Asians for Trump, blacks for Trump. And It's like, dude, if you can't have the minority that you're trying to appeal to hold up that sign, like you just can't have somebody hold up a sign that isn't representative of what that sign says. You can't do that.
It's like the convention. They had one that said like, it was supposed to be Spanish for Latinos for Trump.
Yeah.
But it was like the translation wasn't accurate. I mean, it wasn't even the way you say it in Spanish. There was like, it translated to like Latinos on Trump or something like that. It just wasn't correct.
But it'd be like me if I was holding like a Latinos for Trump sign. It's like that's not right.
But you
like,
look like you could maybe. I don't know.
I don't know,
like
maybe. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Frozen Dead guys for Trump.
Exactly.
You're obviously,
come on.
I think one of the key things today that I heard was I was listening to Howard Stern, and one of the things that he said is even in locker room talk, he would be absolutely taken back if one of his friends said, I went and like, hey, let's go grab this girl by the pussy.
Yeah,
like he said that like actually took him off guard, which Howard Stern is a shock jock.
Yeah.
I mean, if it takes a shock jock off guard, something's wrong.
I just can't
Really
imagine I think the latest like 538 poll puts it at he has a 6% chance of winning now.
Well, now he's saying that the election is completely rigged,
Right.
and now he's going to be the first person since the Civil War, they think, to contest an election.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's not true. I mean,
Al Gore did it too,
Yeah.
but in a legal way. This guy is gonna. It's obvious he's just basically setting up a media empire for after this election.
Well, I think that was pretty apparent after the first debate when he's like, I got a new store opening up on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Right.
If I don't get there one way, I'll get there. I'm like, man, this guy's out of his mind. It's unbelievable.
He's like plugging, like, have you had some steaks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
just imagine like if he actually got in. I mean, I know it's not going to happen, but 4 years is a long fucking time.
things get wacky.
And just the stuff he's done in the last month has been insane. Imagine if he actually had the power of the presidency behind him.
Look, well, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. There's part of me that wishes I could like live in two realities and just kind of see how crazy that reality would be.
And I think that's probably a third of his voters.
Like
who just want to see the world blow up.
Yeah, like it would just be so insane. Like what could possibly happen next? What would he do next? What if we told him that he won the presidency and then we just did a reality TV show called like Donald Trump Thinks He's the President and just watch this guy go completely crazy?
Well, that's like
I would watch it.
He keeps reporting that he's on Time. Like I've been on the cover of Time magazine more than any other like figure.
Yeah,
and he thinks that's a good thing. But the
last two times were him melting.
All the covers are him slowly melting.
Yeah.
So I don't think he.
Yeah. Well, I think about the world we live in, not just the phenomenon that's Donald Trump, but I mean the world has a lot of crazy leaders in it. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he's like an anomaly. Like big powerful countries are run by completely insane people. And that's what I'm saying. Like maybe we should have like a country island reality show where you just throw all these like super crazy people and just.
But let's go to the one thing that I think is really disturbing about this is we have one guy who lives in the Bay Area who's given $1.25 million to the Trump campaign, Peter Thiel,
who also said that that women shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Yeah, I mean that's and he's also gay, so
openly gay, and for Trump, which
yeah, and it's just shocking, and a lot of people are saying that he wants to see this crazy town occur. Like he's trying to support Trump solely to watch the
chaos. People want chaos.
Yeah.
Like, so you're saying like it's almost anarchy, like anarchists for Trump. Like people like know that things would go so off the rails that they're like, let's make it happen. Kind of what I was saying.
They're
like,
the ones and I get their point. Like everyone can agree the system's broken and like people in positions of power are not doing their job and not being held accountable. Like that sucks. But the solution isn't
blow it all up.
That's
not with your track phone.
Yes, exactly. Wow, look at Doug bringing it back to Dave Ansberry.
Yeah, Dave Ansberry. I like that you have that written down.
I know. Well,
what was the name of that town again? I want to go there. We should try to maybe
do a podcast from there.
That would be awesome, dude. Broadcasting live from the dead frozen guy
from Netherland, Colorado.
I mean, that's not that far away. Colorado's not that far away. We could do we could do a
remote from there.
Got some frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, we could do that.
I was thinking road trip, man. Make it exciting.
Will we drive the pink motorcycles across?
Dude, we could take my minivan, bro.
We could paint it up like a Frozen Dead guy.
Exactly.
Big blue dick.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right.
What was your final story?
We cut you off and talked Trump.
Come on.
You guys talked. You guys wanted to talk Trump. All right. So the last story that I was talking about was the pilot story, and that's this pilot. His name is Feras. He was flying with his instructor.
Like Prince, he has one name.
he's not like Prince. He has two names, but the other one's like hard.
You can't pronounce it?
No.
Try.
Hold on just a second. I gotta get that up because I pulled that one down. Hold on just a second. So his name.
Should we just guess his last name?
Yeah, you can start guessing now.
Euler.
Well, I found his instructor's name.
Trump.
All right. Anyway, so this pilot, I'm still looking for his name.
Fuck his name. He's a pilot, and
yeah. So anyway, he was very close to finishing his license, and I guess he wasn't doing very well. So he was on a final approach for a runway, and he got in a fist fight with his instructor on final, and just ditched the plane right down, like punched it down into the ground, and like almost killed the instructor as well, but he killed himself. And
wait a second. So this guy's learning how to fly. He isn't getting the hang of it. The instructor's like, "Hey, dude, you're doing this wrong." He starts freaking out, starts beating the instructor as they're landing.
Yes.
And he's like, "F it, I'm going to crash this plane."
Exactly. So
Eric, what's is that representative of the world we live in? Like what? What's the thought process there? Are people just is there no control of emotions? I mean, are we
the
just
first
like
thing I thought of was Cameron Diaz's character in Vanilla Sky.
Oh, wow.
When you remember that? Like he's talking about she's like, "I swallowed your cum, doesn't that mean anything?" And then, because he's trying to break up with her, so she tries to crash the car with both of them in it. Maybe that
kind of.
Maybe there's something sexual going on with these two.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. That's some powerful emotions right there, man.
That's insane.
Yeah, that is the definition of insanity right there.
So his name is Feras-freitekh, or Fret. I can't say it. It's Freitekh.
I think you pronounced it right.
Right.
Feras-freitekh.
Let's go with that.
Not gonna fly this plane anymore. Is his last name?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But the poor thing, like his instructor was really well respected, liked, and somehow was able to survive this. He's in the hospital now, and they expect that he'll fully recover. But he was able to talk to the feds and everyone about this, and they said, "Is this terrorism?" Because he tried to. The plane just almost hit near Pratt Whitney, like the government design firm for engines. And he was like, maybe he was trying to do something weird in that regard. And he said, no, it's not terrorism. It was a suicide. So, So I guess.
Wait. So the dude. Wait. So it was a suicide. So you're telling me that this guy wanted to kill himself in a plane crash, so he went to go take flying lessons.
No, he was on his way to being a pilot.
Okay.
And he had gotten pretty far. He had a single engine. He was getting his dual engine license.
Yeah.
And then he was coming up to like his final exam before, getting his full commercial license. And I guess it wasn't going well, or he was despondent about being a pilot. And apparently he was also unhappy about it and decided, I'm going to go.
I think ultimately, like, it's easy to laugh at it, but it is. You got to figure the guy must have been there must have been a lot more going on.
There had to have been, right?
Yeah.
It's really sad that he endangered somebody else's.
Endangered.
I've never understood that. I've been in a depressed place before. I've understood what it's like to get there, but what I've never understood was like wanting to hurt other people on your way out.
Yeah,
that is a trip to me. It always is.
But also, he's crashing this plane into a relatively crowded area, and luckily there was a minivan that stopped when they saw the plane coming down so rapidly, and there's a photo of how close the minivan was, and it had a family in it. They're all okay. But obviously shaken up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he could have hurt way more than just the instructor.
Well, it's amazing that the dude's alive. I mean, not too many people survive plane crashes, man. I mean, like, no matter what kind of crash it is.
Yeah, and not only that, in such a small plane. I mean, this is not a very big plane at all.
I read Travis's book from Blink-182.
Uh-huh.
And I've met him a few times, and he's a pretty quiet guy. I want to say like he's like the most, I don't know how do you say it politely? Like he's not the most like expansive dude, or
right.
Just a pretty simple guy. But those few chapters on that plane crash of his were so intense and so. It was amazing to read. I mean, it really is amazing to read and horrific. Like everything you could possibly imagine. I mean, it's just unbelievable that dude's still alive. I mean, I can't. It's almost like weird to sit there and just think that the dude's still out playing music. I mean, it's unbelievable that he's been able to kind of process everything and move on with his life, because it's just. Well, he talks about like the surgeries and just everything. It's just it's unbelievable.
Well, AM, who was with him on the flight, couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and these are people who are used to a lot of strain and a lot of challenges in their lives. And like that when this happened, it was just too much for almost all of them.
What's crazy about it is in the book, he talks about how he always had a fear of flying. Like he was that's one of the reasons why he got addicted to pills and stuff, because when he'd fly, he'd just have to be totally wasted. But he said that when he was a kid, he saw a plane fall from the sky.
Oh my God.
And he was just always like freaked out about it. And so like anytime he'd see a plane, he'd freak out. And so when he started touring in the band and they got bigger and bigger, it was like a big deal for him to fly. Yeah. And then, it's almost like that like weird fate where like it was the thing he feared the most and it ended up happening to him. And, but I mean, he's powered through it. I can't remember what the name of his book is, but if you pick it up, I mean, just, read those few chapters. It's pretty awesome.
Right. And Eric, I was going to say, come over here and look how close the minivan was to this, because Mike can't see it, but you.
I drive a minivan, bro. I know how big those things are.
But look, it was like, so it's literally like if you go to heavy.com and you look at the photos around it, I mean, it literally landed right in front of these people.
Don't you kind of? I mean, I'm surprised you like to fly so much. I mean, I'm sure it's fun, man. But I mean, I fly, pretty often, and every time I fly, I hate it, man. I always have the horrible thought.
I used to do this annex thing too. I'd love to fly because I'd just be fucked up the whole time.
Yeah, that's why you wanted to fly.
But it was it was an excuse. But still, it's like, I mean, I respect anyone who can get up there and do that. Doug is.
I think it's a little bit more unnerving for me to be flying, knowing somebody else is in control. But when I'm in control, it feels a lot better because I know I've checked the plane completely. I know exactly what the performance limitations of the plane are. I feel very comfortable in my particular plane because I've been flying for over 20 years. So I feel very comfortable with it. But when somebody else is flying and I feel something like I was on a Virgin flight and the pilot had done something reckless, which he got below the path of another plane and the plane literally just went and turned sideways, and because the vortex off the
Yeah,
wings
yeah.
of the other plane caused it to turn, and then he had to write it on final, and I was just like, that was like a novice move.
Now, what about? I mean, like I understand like flying maybe like a little small plane, like I think I could handle that, but the guys that trip me out are like the dudes like the Bruce Dickinsons of Iron Maiden, the Dexters of the Offspring, who like they'll fly 747s.
Right.
Like they're just like, I want to fly like a big plane. It's like like that, that seems it just I don't know, man.
And the other thing, think of that, you're the band members of that band, and you partied with this guy before, and now he's got your life in his hands flying a huge ass plane.
Well, they did a thing. Iron Maiden did a thing called Flight 666 or whatever, where you could 666, where as a fan you could get on the Iron Maiden plane. Bruce Dickinson was your pilot. He greeted you. You sat in the plane. They flew you to wherever the show was. You got off, took a bus to the show, watched Bruce Dickinson jump around in tights, sleep over, and the next day get on the plane and they fly you back. I mean, like,
where are those bands today?
That's weird,
bands,
man.
Like, no one's doing anything like that.
Like, who even thinks of that? Like, someday I'm going to be in a rock band. We're going to be so big. I'm going to be a pilot.
Fly my
own
plane.
747 and fly my fans around to see me. Like, back in, like, the 80s, like, he was all freaking gacked out, like, talking about that. And all of a sudden, like, all the guys would be like, hey, man, he did it. Wow, crazy.
But, like, so one of the, like, fastest private jets is owned by Travolta. And he flies himself around, and he actually has a place at, like, it's up near Tahoe.
I've seen a picture of it. Yeah, he's got a instead of a driveway, he's got a runway.
Right
to his house.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
And he can park it in his garage.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That is crazy.
All right,
man. Well, I'm going to go take public transportation home, and
you're going to take your private jet home.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to hop in that, just fly right home.
Exactly, man. Living the life of
its tail number is MUNI.
Yeah, exactly. Woo!
or BART.
Yeah. Right,
all right.
man.
Well, excellent. Well, thanks for listening to Vomiting Rainbows. This is episode 11. Listen to more of our episodes on vomitingrainbows.com, and like us on We Vomit Rainbows, iTunes, and Stitcher, and Google Play.
And you're supposed to thank our guest, Doug. That's what
and thank you, Eric, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We hope to have you back.
Absolutely.